Today, we are going to look at two-step equations, and we are going to solve those equations. We're going to undo those steps in the order of operations and figure out what that variable is, that missing value. So this is page 5 in the Unit 3 packet. So those steps to solve. For number 1, we're going to locate that variable. Then we will undo the addition or subtraction to remove q. I won't be calling it q very much, but q is that constant that's all by itself. It does not have a variable. Then we will undo the multiplication and division to remove the p. P is the coefficient that's in front of the variable. And then finally, check your solution. We'll use our calculators to do that. We won't write out all the steps. So again, follow along. Page 5 in your notes, you're going to fill these out for me. Number 1, 9a minus 2 equals negative 65. So I like to draw a line through that equal sign. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So 9a, negative 2 plus 2, those cancel out, so I don't have to write anything there. Negative 65 plus 2 is negative 63. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 9, and I know that negative 63 divided by 9 is negative 7. Now, why did I start with the 2 first? If you remember, our job is to isolate the variable, which in this case is the letter A. So we want to get everything away from that A. We will do the adding and subtracting first, and then we'll do the multiplying and dividing, whatever it takes to get that variable by itself. And how would you check your work? You would tell me that 9 times negative 7 minus 2, is that really equal to negative 65? So negative 63 minus 2, negative 65. And the answer is yes, they match. So we did that correctly. Again, we can just use our calculator for those going forward. Number 2, a line through my equal sign. I'm going to subtract 7 on both sides. Negative 4x is equal to do some mental math here this morning, 24. Divide both sides by negative 4. When I say both sides, I mean both sides of the equal sign. These cancel out, so x is equal to negative 6. And again, this is the variable x that we were trying to isolate. Okay. Number 3, let's do the variable first. Here's k. So how do we get that by itself? I'm going to add 11 to both sides of the equal sign. K divided by 3 is equal to 6. Now, this piece down here looks a little funny, the one that's divide. We undo divide with a multiply. It's really kind of clumsy to write out, but you want to write times 3. So my 3's cancel out. K is equal to 18. And again, the variable you're going to leave exactly where it is for these problems. It's going to stay put. Number 4, this time the variable's on the right. That's okay. Leave it exactly there. Don't move it around. Your other math teachers in the past might have told you something a little bit different there, but I want you to keep it exactly where it is. Let's subtract 23 on both sides. Now, 8 minus 23, you might want to pull out your calculator for this one, but that will be a negative 15. 23 minus 23 is 0. That's why we don't bother writing anything there. You could really put a 0 if you wanted to hold its spot. Minus 5w. I'm going to rewrite it without the 0. Now, my variable is still over here on the right. Remember that a number next to a letter, that's really an invisible multiplication. We don't write the multiplication sign for that. So to undo multiplication, we divide. We divide by negative 5. So negative 15 divided by negative 5 is a positive 3 is equal to W. A lot of times we put the W on the left, and W equals 3. All right, very good. Number 5. Our job is to get M by itself. That's the variable. We're going to draw a line. What do we have to move first? Remember, we're doing add and subtract first. So add 11. This 11 over here is the one that's on the same side as the m. So that's the one that we're moving. So 8m is equal to 0. That's okay. We don't have to write the 0 on the left because we're solving for the variable. But you do want to write the 0 on the right. I'll divide both sides by 8. M is equal to 0 divided by 8. M is equal to 0. Number 6 looks a little bit different. All the same thing. We just have to know what order to do them in. So number 6, we'll add and subtract first. Because my variable n is on the right, I'm going to subtract 1 on the right and on the left. So -7 is equal to n divided by -4. Now, the opposite of divide is going to be multiply. So we're going to times both sides by -4. Remember that it's this variable n that we're trying to get by itself. So -4 times -7 is positive 28 is equal to n. Number 7, oh, this is a good one. There's my equal sign. I'm going to subtract 19 on both sides. -x is equal to 30 minus 19 is going to be 11. I was thinking 21 in my head, but it's 11. Now, there's a negative sign in front of the x, but that's actually a number. So the question is, what number is it? It's a -1. This really means -1 times x equals 11. So how do I solve for x? I divide both sides by negative. X is equal to -11. If it helps you to circle that variable, go for it. Great idea. Number 8. R is up here in the numerator. I want to add and subtract first. So I will add 17 on the left of the equal sign, add 17 on the right. So R divided by 2 is equal to a -7. My variable is still right here. Again, this divide, it looks a little tricky, but this is really divide. So I'm going to times both sides by 2. Those two cancel out. R is equal to -14. All right. I hope that helps out a little bit. Okay. So we're going to try more of these, but when I look ahead to the next page, I believe I see some decimals. I do. I know that you can do these. We don't love decimals, but give them a try. So decimals and fractions. I'm going to pause here. You try them on your own and then come back and check your answers. So these are the solutions to numbers 9 through 14. You can pause the video here if you need to check your answers. I've gone through and I've highlighted the variable in each step so that you can see what happens or where that variable sits. Remember, for all of these, add and subtract come first. Then multiply and divide comes second. All right, so good job. I have a few examples in this other form, which is x plus p over q is equal to r. Same idea. First thing, we're always going to locate the variable. We will undo the multiplication and division in this case first, and that's because we're dividing by p first. Then we'll use addition and subtraction and check the solution. So this time we reverse. This time we'll do the multiplying first. I'm going to multiply both sides by 6. So I have x minus 1 is equal to 12. I'll add 1 to both sides. So x is equal to 13. And again, to just check your solution, you would put 13 in place of the x. 13 minus 1 is 12. 12 divided by 6 is equal to 2. So we're good to go on that one. And here's the variable, by the way. Number 16, let me zoom in here for us. Here's the m. We're going to undo that division first, and we do that through multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by -2. -2 times 9 is -18. And -2's cancel out, so I have m plus 17. Now I'm going to subtract 17 from both sides. So this is going to be -35. On number 17, my first step is going to be to locate the variable. Here it is as a k. I'm going to multiply both sides by 16. That gets it out of the denominator and cancels. So I have 16 times -3, which is -48. This is equal to k minus 5. And that's because, again, these two things cancel out. So my next step is to get k by itself. I will add 5 to both sides. -43 is equal to k. That's my variable. And finally, number 18, p. I'm going to multiply both sides by 7. So p plus 20 is equal to a -28. I'm going to subtract 20 on both sides of the equal sign. P is equal to a -48. And again, here's the variable all the way through. So those are a little different. These are a very specific situation. Good luck with these on the homework.